Hey guys, it's Hannah and welcome back to the Dyslexic Reader. Today I am going to be doing my September wrap up. As you can tell, I've already got my Happy Halloween shirt on. It is now October. It's got little pumpkins and witches' house and spooky houses. And it's like a million sizes too big, but I got it really cheap and I love it. I think it's cute. And I'm not like a massive fan of Halloween. It's not my favourite holiday. I'm much more of a Christmas person. But I love the autumn and I love this shirt. And I thought it's October. Let's get into it. Here's the cat. Do you want to say hello to the cat? Turn up, say hello to the people. Can you see the camera? She has no interest in the camera. Turn up is blind, so she probably can't even see where it is. And now she's knocking into it. This is a great start to this video on a very grey October afternoon. So let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way. I hosted Sherlock September, where I tried to read all of the Sherlock Holmes canon in September. I didn't quite manage it. I read 7 out of the 9 books, so I'm not that disheartened by it. And I would have had time. It wasn't that I ran out of time, but I started to get really bored. And like, it's not that the stories, it was so repetitive and it was becoming like a chore that I was working towards rather than actually enjoying it. And I didn't want to do that to myself. And coming out of August, I was starting to feel a bit of a slump coming on. I didn't do well at the end of August, and then this was kicking off September badly. So I just abandoned it. But I will tell you briefly about the 7 Sherlock Holmes canon novels that I did get round to. The first of which is A Study in Scarlet. I think this is a really good introduction. It is the first of the novels and it's split into 2 halves. Now the first half is like the mystery and then the second half is a completely different story. I did not enjoy the second half. Sherlock Holmes isn't in it. I didn't think it was good. It didn't appeal to me. But I did really enjoy the first half. I thought it was a great introduction to the characters and how Sherlock works. And I thought the mystery was good. But because I hated the second half, I could only give it like 3 stars. The Sign of the Four I felt was much better. I gave it 4 stars. It's still not my favourite. But I liked the mystery. I like how it was solved, but again I didn't like the past, sort of going back to India and working out like what had happened. I just like, here's the crime, here's how I solved it, not why sort of the crime took place. I think that's a part of a lot of the Sherlock Holmes books that I find boring, and for me that's a lot of the downfalls. I just want to be faced with the problem and then how Sherlock solves it and the whole backstory of the characters. That's not really what I go to it for. I then reread Hound of the Baskervilles, which I gave 5 stars. Hound of the Baskervilles, for those who don't know, is my favourite book of all time, not just Sherlock Holmes' book, of all time. My favourite book. I love the characters, the setting, I think the mystery is great, the ambience and atmosphere of the whole book. I think the pacing is fabulous. I just love everything about it. It is so good, and just rereading it or listening to it on audiobook just gives me so much comfort. It is unreal. I love it. The Valley of Fear, I gave 3 stars. Again, good mystery, but I didn't like the background. I think this is where the novels as opposed to the short story collections fall down when it comes to Sherlock Holmes. We do get a lot of that background, which for me personally is not what I enjoy, and other people might prefer that then over all the random short stories. And I think that's where I like Hound of the Baskervilles. It's not heavy on that aspect. So Valley of Fear got another 3 stars from me. Then I read The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which is one of the short story collections. This I gave 4 stars. It's one of my favourite out of the collections. My favourite short story is The Red-Headed Lake, and I like that it's not a murder. Sometimes I like the ones that aren't murders because they're solved in a different way. So a lot of the murders I think are solved quite similarly and the process is quite similar, but when it's a different crime like forgery or a disappearance or a stalker, things like that, when it's different, then obviously the process of solving it and the experience and the, what's the word I'm looking for, evidence that they use is completely different, and then I think that gives it a whole freshness really. I also read The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. This was a 3 star. There was some good stories in this, but I don't think it was as strong as The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, although I did like the Moriarty storyline. but I nearly prefer Moriarty's character portrayals in TV and movie adaptations. In the books it's very subtle, but it's nice to see where that originated from. And the final Sherlock Holmes book that I read was The Return of Sherlock Holmes. At this stage, I sort of feel like Sherlock Holmes was very popular and he was sort of churning out books quickly for money, and the stories became very similar. They were sort of repeats, and then some of them were really crazy out there just to get something different, and I didn't enjoy it as much. And that's when I really felt like it was becoming a chore and I didn't want to pick up the book. So after The Return of Sherlock Holmes, that's when I set this chunker down after getting like 80-90% of the way through it. But I might try and get the other two finished by the end of the year and do quick reviews of them as well, so that all 9 are done this year. To pull me out of that slumpy feeling, I went to a middle grade book. This is Prisoner of Ice and Snow by Ruth Lauren, and I actually won this on a Goodreads giveaway. So you guys, if you're on Goodreads and don't enter in all the giveaways that you're interested in, I think you're really missing out, because it was just really nice to get the notification that I've won this, and then within a week or so it had arrived at my doorstep. The concept of this book was really good. I'll give you a little quick overview of the synopsis. So our main character Valor is a twin, and at the start of the book we witness her try to assassinate the prince of her kingdom. And that is because her sister is in jail for stealing a really culturally significant music box. And Valor wants to get arrested and put in jail so that she can try and break them both out from the inside. So all I'm going to tell you, obviously, is Prisoner of Ice and Snow. So it happens in a very cold climate. The prison is made out of ice and things. The concept was really good, and I liked how the plot progressed. I couldn't necessarily see which direction it was taking. I had sort of worked out very early on the main mystery of the music box and what had really happened to that side of the story, but as to how they escaped and how it all planned out, I didn't really see how that sorted itself coming. But my problem with this book was the writing style. I found it hard to visualise the setting, and I found it hard to connect with the characters, and that could be totally down to me. This is Ruth Lauren's debut novel. I did check that out. This is her first book, and there is a sequel to it coming out, so it's obviously been well received and well enjoyed. But for me, the writing style didn't quite click. However, because I loved the idea so much, that if I saw the second book, which isn't coming out until early next year, I wouldn't buy it, but if I saw it in the library, I probably would pick it up just to continue on with the story, to see how their writing progresses. And maybe it was just me coming out of those heavier books, just couldn't really fully invest in this. If I didn't say, I give that 3 stars. My last book is kind of a cheat. I technically finished this on the 1st of October, but I don't want to have to wait until October's wrap up, because I'm not sure I'll remember all of the points that I want to say, so I'm just going to include it in this video because I read like the last 50 pages in October, so we're counting it as a September read. And that was The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo. I really enjoyed the writing style in this. One of my favourite books when it comes to writing style would have to be Moby Dick. I wasn't an overly huge fan of the book in general, but when it comes to writing style, it blew me away. And I think this could possibly overtake it. I thought it was so beautifully written, and even though it's a hard text, as any translated text is, and it is a long book, I found myself flying through this. And that's because I couldn't put it down. It was so beautiful and it flowed so well that once I picked it up, I was just stuck there for ages reading this. I will say that it is completely different to the Disney adaptation, if you have seen the Disney movie. The fact that Quasimodo is a hunchback and a bell ringer, and that Esmeralda is a gypsy, is literally, that's where the similarities sort of end. The storyline's completely different, the characters and their relationships are completely different. And when you read the book, it's clear why Disney altered it so much. There's a lot of lust in this book, as well as a lot of crime and CDs going on. A lot of the book for me was a bit slow, I'm more of a plot-driven person than a character-driven person, and this is definitely a character study of a book. There's also a lot of the book, especially the first sort of 100, 200 pages, which describes Paris, and it describes it absolutely beautiful, but that's not something that I enjoyed. So for that, I had to knock a star off, and I overall gave it 4 stars. But I still absolutely loved it and would recommend it to anybody who had any interest in picking it up. Beforehand, I would say definitely go and do it. So that is my wrap up for September. I'm not crazily overjoyed with how I done. I feel a bit bad that I didn't finish all 9 Sherlock books, but I don't think I would have got through it anyway, and I think I would have really messed my reading up. So far, I'm enjoying my first couple of days of what I'm reading in October. I'm reading Helter Skelter, which is the true crime of the Manson murders, and I'm really enjoying that. So hopefully October will be good. I hope you guys had a really good reading month for September, and I hope you have a really good reading month in October as well. I hope you're all happy, I hope you're all healthy, and I will hopefully see you in my next video. Goodbye.